race, so this will be one of those. But really exciting times. Today we'll have the draw of the raffle prize as well for the Golden Saddle. So I believe 1,200 tickets were sold in that, and we'll be announcing that on air as well very later. Should I say not very late? It'll be later on in today's coverage, but very exciting times ahead.
Yeah, for the $1 million, the KBRC's runner Bravo Centurion in the $1 million Golden Saddle race, of course, to be run on Kalgoorlie Cup Day, the inaugural Golden Saddle over 1,200 metres, and I think it's a worst case $20,000 for the winner of the draw. It's unbelievable for a $100 ticket. Only 1,200 tickets have been sold, so we're really looking forward to drawing that later on today, and some lucky person is going to turn 100 into 20 grand.
Exactly right, and potentially if Bravo Centurion was able to win, I believe you're going to be taking home about $160,000. So fantastic results, but runners are now in the yard ahead of race number 2, so we best get back to today's racing. The one is our favourite in Lavish Charm for Peter Fernie and William Pike.
This is our short-priced favourite. Last preparation, he ran second to My Half at Pinjarra first up over this distance. Then he ran a fast-finishing third to Simply Royalty at Northam. He was transferred to Kalgoorlie after that. He jumped $1.50 odd, and I thought he had every chance that day, but he wasn't able to reel in the leader, the Sharagini. He was turned straight out for a break after that. He now resumes first up. He gets William Pike aboard, and if he was able to replicate either of his first or second up runs from last preparation, I think he wins.
Opened $1.50, now $1.20 as mentioned, so very, very well supported. The next runner to preview is the 2 in Johnny Waffles for Brian Allen and Jefferson Sang.
Third start this preparation for this 6-year-old. He is a 20-start maiden who's only placed twice and typically gets back in the field as well. I thought it looked quite tricky for him today, and he'll go around a big price.
The 3 is Poet and I Know It. 98 days between runs has been freshened here. John Lugg and Maddie Derrick.
First up, no trial, pacifiers on, Maddie Derrick on. Last preparation was probably only fair. First up, had a nice run throughout, was beaten a length and 3/4, then had no luck, went wide throughout second up and ended up finishing last. But the 1,200 metres I thought might be a little concern here first up, so I was happy to tiptoe around him resuming.
The 4 is Maxine Wish, a $10 chance here for Brad Graham, and Brad Parnham sticks aboard.
I think both of Brad Graham's runners that he's brought here today can go well at a price. I think Molly's My Pal later on in the day, who won at Belmont last week, is an each-way chance. And this horse as well, Brad Parnham sticks, second up from a freshen up, and last start over 1,000 metres at Northam. Thought she was doing her best work late, and that's certainly a stronger form reference than what she meets here. The winner of that race, Spicy Thang, ran 4th at Belmont yesterday, so I thought this was a nice enough race for Maxine's Wish.
Shine and Burn is the 5 for Helen Harding and Zephyr Johnson Porter.
28 days between runs. The 2 and 3 starts ago were particularly good runs, and especially 2 starts ago when third to I'm Genevieve, who looks a really nice type from Peter Fernie's yard, ran the fastest closing sectionals that day, Shine and Burn. Last start though, drew barrier 10 of 10, bombed the start, then whipped around them, was about 3 and 4 wide, no cover. I think you can just rule a line through that effort, so it wouldn't be a huge surprise to see her run a much improved race from a better gate today.
The 6 is Vain Universe. It was a strong push from the trainer post-race here, Paul Tapper. Rocky Chung's aboard and carries 53 kilos.
Well, the first up run wasn't bad. Ran 4th to Ell of a Man that day. Drew barrier 1, was given a lovely, had a nice run in transit and wasn't beaten too far. Draws the same gate today, whereas last start, Drew barrier 10 was caught wide throughout, ended up being beaten a long way, in fact more than 12 lengths. So would have to improve off of that effort, but should map similarly to what she did when she ran a nice enough race 2 starts back.
Zed Hot Express is the 7 for David Smith and Braden Garth.
Didn't think it was a bad effort at a big price last start. Was pretty keen through the early stages, and that was over 1,300 metres, but still actually finished off okay. And if you go back 3 or 4 runs ago, or 3 runs ago it was at Belmont, was only beaten 2 1/4 by My Authorita, who was a subsequent winner, a subsequent Saturday winner. That race was at Belmont Park. The second horse, Productive, has since won. So the form around Zed Hot Express is actually quite good. So I had to put her into the numbers, especially back to 1,200 metres, where she'll hopefully not over race.
As mentioned at the start of the preview, the 8 Luminous Lady is a scratching, so we move on to the 9 in Revolving for Paul Tapper and Lisa Staples.
Hard to give this mare a push. She's second up. First up, she went around at 150 to 1, led and ran a distant last. And last preparation, she was beaten a long way in her race and trials as well.
And the 10 is What You Talking About on race debut here today is drawn sticky, unfortunately, in gate 9, Peter Fernie and Lucy Fury.
Thought trialled well enough. First trial this preparation, sat outside the leader and won, and the second trial was on speed, but settled on the rail with a horse to his outside. But he actually came again late, was only beaten a length. Certainly has less convictions than a lot of these runners, clearly, because he's on debut, and a lot of this field has had more than enough chances. So I was happy enough to make him the main danger to our short-priced favourite here. And whilst he's drawn barrier 9 of 9 after scratchings, he showed enough speed in both of those recent trials to suggest that Lucy Fiore could roll forward and land outside the leader.
Only 3.5 minutes remaining to get your bets on ahead of the Diggers and Dealers Maiden over the 1,200 metres. So we'll take a look at the market. Lavish Charm continues to be supported, now into $1.18. William Pike aboard, our premier jockey here in the state. Peter Fernie is the trainer. The next best, just getting up my numbers to make sure that was correct, at $9. So as mentioned, all the market is with Lavish Charm. What you're talking about is on the second line of betting, $4.60 out to $9 in the stablemate with Lucy Fiore aboard. Maxine's Wish is $8 out to $10. Zed Hot Express is out to $19. Shine and Burn at $23. Vain Universe on the drift, unwanted in the market now, is at $31. Poet and I Know It at $34. Johnny Waffles at $51 and revolving. Paul Tapper, Lisa Staples chasing a race-to-race double, and that would be some go here, a value, because it's $71. 2.5 minutes remaining now. Michael, how do we order the 4?
1, 10, 4 and 7, Tessa. I am with the favourite here, Lavish Charm, who does look very, very hard to beat first up. From 10, the stablemate What You Talking About, I thought showed enough speed to suggest that he could roll forward from the outside gate to land outside leader. 4 in Maxine's Wish, I thought was a pretty good run at Northam the other day. Second up from a freshen up today. Has quite good form lines around her, and I think both of Brad Graham's runners today can run a race at a price. So I was happy to suggest that Maxine's Wish was a top 3 player here. And 7, Zed Hot Express. If she could reproduce that run 3 starts ago at Belmont Park, she could win this race. And I didn't think her last start effort was too bad when getting a pretty keen in the run, but still finishing off okay. 1, 10, 4 and 7, but Lavish Charm, $1.22, very, very short. Hopefully sweet winning first up.
Is now into $1.16 as we speak here, Michael, as mentioned, continuing to be very, very well supported. Peter Fernie and William Pike, and Michael Heaton puts Lavish Charm on top here today. He's first up, hoping to be able to break through. 1, 10, 4 and 7. Michael Heaton's numbers here ahead of the Diggers and Dealers Maiden over the 1,200 metres. Runners behind the barriers now about to start moving in, so we will hand you upstairs to Royce for the call.
Thanks, Tessa. Thanks, Michael. Yes, runners behind the line here. This is race number 2 on the card. It's the Diggers and Dealers Maiden over the 1,200 metres. Favouritism with Lavish Charm, $1.16. That's winks-like odds in a maiden at Kalgoorlie. But that man, William Pike, has that effect. $1.16. $1.60 on tote. There's been a few all-ups rolled into this, you would imagine. Second best, you have just single figures about What You Talking About. So on debut there for Pete Fernie, Lucy Fiore to ride What You Talking About, who's had 3 trials out of a mare, Dantarina, who was a handy race mare on the Goldfields years ago herself. So Vain Universe has been locked away. Coming up now, this red hot favourite, Lavish Charm, will jump from barrier 2. Maxine's Wish to join the line. So she goes forward, and now here's Shine and Burn with Johnny Waffles. But $1.30 now. Lavish Charm, What You Talking About, coming forward now in the saddle. Lucy as a touched upon. Pikey on the red hot favourite. Lavish Charm at $1.30. Okay, Zed Hot Express to join the line. Thanks, Stu. Tab Radio now on board. This is race number 2, the Diggers and Dealers Maiden over the 1,200 metres. Another successful Diggers and Dealers at the start of August this year. The town at absolute capacity. Revolving, locked away. That just leaves us with Poet and I Know It from the Johnny Lugg stable. Matty Derrick in the saddle to come forward and complete the field of 9. Of course, the scratching this morning was number 8, Luminous Lady. but it's all about Lavish Charm. 132, similar price on the parimutuel now to jump from barrier 2 as Poet and I Know It goes forward and completes the line. Stand by, we're set. 1,200 metres ahead of them in the Diggers and Dealers Maiden. Set to fly. Gates fly back in race 2. Shine and Burn stood there, missed it. Johnny Waffles going back early on as well with early speed. Lavish Charm, the favourite, going to sit on pace. Pushing forward is Revolving. Just behind these, Maxine's Wish with Poet and I Know It down on the fence next of all. We had Vain Universe and then Zed Hot Express. They were followed a further 2 then to What You're Talking About. Down on the inside, the slow starter, Shine and Burn. And at the tail, it's Johnny Waffles. 800 metres to run and it's Lavish Charm. This $1.32 favourite who shows out a length, running second Revolving. Third, the outside, Poet and I Know It, covering additional ground with no cover. Down on the inside, next of all to Vain Universe. And then we had Zed Hot Express. Maxine's Wish is 4 wide before the straight. They were followed by What You Talking About. A further length then to Johnny Waffles and Shine and Burn is at the tail. That's the field of 9 on the point of the turn as they come into the straight. And it's Lavish Charm kicked up a gear now. Shows out by 2 lengths down the outside. Vain Universe starting to extend. They were followed by Maxine's Wish and down the outside What You Talking About. But it's all Lavish Charm inside the final 100 has absolutely bolted away from the rest of the field. And this is just a hands and heels performance. Goes on and wins Lavish Charm. Second in, we had Vain Universe, followed in by Shine and Burn, which was a nice run in the end. What You Talking About? Zed Hot Express. They were followed in by Maxine's Wish. And then we had Johnny Waffles, a big break to Revolving, and Poet and I Know It was at the tail. Well, when you send them out at $1.30, that's how you like them to win. And Peter Fernie and William Pike get on the board in race number 2 here at the KBRC today. Lavish Charm at start 7, breaks through, was far too good for the rest of the field here today. And straight to the front, was never challenged. At the top of the straight, Pikey just kicked a couple in front, and that was all she wrote. Lavish Charm by Extravagant from Celebrity Miss, owned by Andrew Ingalls. William Pike in the saddle. Peter Fernie, the winning trainer. Second in was the 6, Vain Universe. Nice run. Paul Tapper, Rocky Chung by Universal Ruler from Concierted, owned by Nicky Jordan and Paul Tapper. Third in the 5, that's Shine and Burn. Helen Harding's F and Johnston Porter by A-Lot from Chaya, owned by Chris Harding and also Miss J. Barry. Fourth in was the 10, that's What You're Talking About, Peter Fernie and Lucy Fiore. 165.10, 4.5 lengths, the official margin by a length and a quarter. 111.65, the winning gallop. Race 3 is next, the Rock Tech Handicap over the 1760. The scratching is number 2, Please Mister, an important one. Leaves us with a field of 7. But in the meantime, let's go down into the yard and catch up with the connections of Lavish Charm, a brilliant win there in race number 2.
Thanks, Royce. Catching up with Peter Fernie now. Pete, that was a really nice watch.
Yeah, he went really good. I didn't like that $1.15. I thought, what are they doing? He's a maiden. I thought, how can people still be backing him? But they were right and I was wrong as usual.
I think Royce referred it to as wink-like odds there.
Yeah, it was stupid, wasn't it?
What were the expectations going today? Because it did look like a really nice race on paper.
Oh, we thought he'd win. He was going really well, but I didn't think he was a $1.15 pop, but he went really good.
When do we see him again next?
Most probably Hannon's Day. There's a class 2 he can run in that.
You've got a big team yet again. Please, Mister, scratching out of the next. Can Feuding get the job done?
Yeah, I think he'll just try and ride him a bit more positive today. I don't think there's a lot of speed in it. I think he's a good chance.
And I'll ask the question, best of the rest of other than that?
Oh, I don't know. There's too many in. Cross your fingers.
Big day for your camp, so best of luck. Congratulations in the second.
Thank you.
There's Pete Fernie. We'll grab a word with William Pike as he does return. But as mentioned, Michael, $1.15 at one start, at one point there, but I think $1.30. So hopefully the punters were able to get $1.30 odds, and it was a great watch.
Yeah, it certainly was. Probably the easiest sit and steer ride that Willie Pike has had for some time. So looking forward to getting his thoughts there. He's actually trialled this horse before, back on May 5th, last preparation when he was with the previous stable. Willie trialled him, but I don't believe he's ridden him in a race. But today, straight to the front, he just received no pressure whatsoever, and he was able just to extend. And what's the official margin there? 4.5 lengths in the end. It was a very, very dominant win, and what sets up to be a pretty good day for William Pike, because he is aboard the favourite Starry Heights in the $125,000 listed Boulder Cup, our feature event this afternoon. This is the horse that he rode last year, won of course the Boulder and Kalgoorlie Cups aboard, and they're back to try to make amends and defend their Goldfields crown. But I think he might have had a little bit of trouble pulling this horse up as well, because he took some time to be able to get him back here into the mounting yard. Getting a well done there by owner Andrew Inglis. Willie, that was probably the easiest sit and steer you've had for a while.
Yeah, we'll take more of those. Hopefully we've got a few more later. No, very enjoyable. As I said to everybody just then, it was like the hardest part was actually getting to the barriers. He's a little busy bee, and he's got a lot of open air that he wants to fill it all in one go. But once we went in the gates, he's an absolute professional.
Felt like it took you a little while to get back as well. Was he difficult to pull up after the line?
Just green. He looks at everything, and I was hanging back to have a friend because I wasn't sure if I was going to make it back without a friend.
Starry Heights here to defend his crown in the Boulder Cup today. I noticed he drew out in both of his wins today, but Barrier won today. What's the game plan there?
Look, it's going to be tricky. I guarantee there'll be jockeys played. He's a very good chance. If I get the breaks at the right time, he'll be hard to beat.
Good start to the day. Well done.
Thank you.
There's William Pike combining with local trainer Peter Fernie, and Lavish Charm was our odds-on favourite here and got the job done very easily in the Diggers and Dealers Maiden over the 1,200 metres. Numbers here 1, 6, 5 and 10. 5 more to come.